40 years ago, a group of neighbors from different churches in the community sat down around a kitchen table and they began to talk about their neighbors. Their neighbors who had problems, no food, sick, had to get to the doctor, no transportation, no family to help. They just decided to respond with food, with transportation, and any way they could help to make an immediate and positive change in their neighbor's life. And that's how VEAP started. Neighbors helping neighbors.
Good morning, thank you for calling VEAP. This is Hazel. How may I direct your call?
40 years later, today, we are still reaching out to our neighbors in need. Today, VEAP is serving the largest working poor population in the state of Minnesota. These are people who have often one, sometimes two jobs. So they live in what we call a house of cards. One thing happens, car breaks down, the child gets sick, they don't go to work, they can't get to work, they don't get paid. Those are the issues that they face, and when they face those issues, they have to make some decision. Do they feed their children? Do they pay for the car repair? Or do they pay for rent? Those are pretty tough decisions.
I, at the time, was working 3 jobs, and just certain things, car needed to be fixed, and things just weren't meeting, and just getting out of the car and looking around, I made that first step and walked in the door, and was totally different experience than what I was expecting. I was warmly welcomed and not looked down on.
I want them to have a great experience when they come through the door or via telephone when they call in. So just having the knowledge of VEAP and what you can do to help them, it kind of empowers me.
When an individual comes for help, that's the presenting issue. When they come for food, we know there's something else going on. People just aren't hungry because they couldn't get to the grocery store. People are hungry because they don't have the economic resources they need to buy food. No one does not feed their children. No one.
The dairy case from the milk over, those items are 0 points. You could take what you could use of that. Everything else would count as 8 points.
I guess you think food shelf, you know, TV, movies, you know, it's dark, it's dingy. But when I got in, it treats you like you're at a grocery store. I mean, you have options. You can just, you know, pick and choose, pick stuff off the shelves that you want, and you're not going home with a lot of stuff that you really wouldn't use. I think it relieves a lot of stress from you. It's kind of empowering. I was getting divorced from my wife. Soon after that, 8, 9 months after that, I was laid off. I have 2 children. So that's when I really stepped up and really wanted to seek out some assistance.
If you give a neighbor a leg up and you step in and help them, that gives them a chance to help themselves. And if they help themselves, they become more stable. And that's a stabilizing effect on the entire community.
It's not just help you to constantly help you, it's to help you to see if you can help yourself at some point and then get better.
We also are able to integrate the other programs. If they have children, we're certainly going to involve them in the Children and Youth program to make sure they have school supplies, to make sure that the family has holidays to celebrate, important family celebrations such as birthdays.
The first time I came to VEAP, it was around one of my daughter's birthdays. So when I got home and was unloading the groceries, there was a cake mix, there was frosting. VEAP took that extra step so that her birthday wouldn't be forgotten.
It blossomed into pretty much a great career where I work at now. I'm now a manager, and I just wanted to give back. So I brought up the idea of a food drive. I talked to my boss about it. He said, sounds like a great deal. That's when I called VEAP. Even from when I was a client of VEAP to where they would come pick up food from my business, they're just always smiling, always happy, always just eager to please and help people. And again, that goes to the point where you feel better about if you're getting the help and accepting the help. It's coming from people with smiles on their faces.
The volunteers have given more hours than ever before. The donors continue to support with food and with dollars.
For the last 2 years, VEAP has had over 50,000 volunteer hours donated, which is over $1 million worth of services. VEAP has a long history of taking a dollar and turning it into a lot of goods and services. I think the current quote is like, for every dollar we turn it into $7 of food. That's huge.
We have a long way to go. We are moving ahead with plans to make our programs and services more effective, combat more issues on poverty, and move toward long-term stability within our community. I have no magic orb to say what the future will bring, but this is what I do know. I do know that the VEAP volunteers and supporters will make sure that none of our neighbors are left alone, and they will always have hope for the future.